Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to the desktop for another retro RPG, and this time I would like to present this Punk'21, Issue 3, Volume 1, designed for the Europunk. Now this is a cyberpunk fanzine licensed for publication under Artalzorian Games, so it's somewhat official, or at least it's a properly licensed product. Now this came out in 1994 from a British company, Temporal Stasis Ltd, 5 Westview, Bedfont, Feltham, Middlesex, TW14 8PP, which, according to Google Maps, is now a house. I don't know whether it was a house back then, so it's perhaps where the publishers lived, because this is probably a back bedroom published item rather than professionally, but it could have been an industrial unit some 30 years ago and just had a house built there now. But, according to Google Maps, it's a very nice little bungalow now. Now, this came out in 1994, as I said, so the year after Interface magazine. Although, when I was looking up on this, I was reading through a biography of Mike Pondsmith, the guy who set up Artalzorian Games and is the creator of Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk 2020. And it said that he got his ideas for publishing Interface magazine through Artalzorian Games and its own imprint from Punk'21. So the timeline doesn't kind of work out quite well. I don't know whether maybe that's just something he remembers wrongly, or there was an earlier one, maybe Punk'20 came out. But this is a nice little fanzine. It's very similar to Interface magazine. It's about the same page count. This one's 56 pages, whereas the last one I think I covered was about 62 pages. So they're fairly similar. The cover is a lot thinner and lighter, whereas the covers of Interface were pretty much hard card. This is very much what you would expect from the cover of a magazine. It's shiny paper, a bit tougher than the internal pages, but not much. Now, the subject of this particular one is sea nomads. It's all about nomads normally trade across land in their big caravans, but it mentions in the rulebook that they're also the sailors of the world. So this fanzine, this issue of it, goes heavily into rules about the cyberpunks out at sea, the nomads. So if we open up, table of contents there, quite nice. We've got some cyberware, a cyber optic eye patch, and a hook. So we're straight into the aquatic pirate theme. We've got a write-up here of Gaux, I think that's pronounced. My French isn't great, but it is a ocean-based station, an artificial island, I think is probably the best way of describing it, which was created to sort of provide Europe with power, so I guess it's somewhere in the North Sea or North Atlantic. But it's got its own rules, it's become a home for pirates and nomads and all that. So we've got a description of how it was set up, the history behind it. It mentions that in 2111 the United Kingdom just became the Kingdom, although that seems to be outside the time range for Cyberpunk 2020. So maybe they meant 2011, not quite sure. Talks about the structure, how it's built, a rough guide. There's 6,000 inhabitants on it alone, plus lots of visitors. Talks about the sort of bars on it. Wang Tuk's Coffee and Sushi Bar. The brothels, gambling. And then we see the construct of the station itself, this artificial island with underwater docking areas, tower in the middle to control it, and all its defences, so we get descriptions of where everything is. Then we talk about trafficking. If you're going to be an aqua nomad and live, you've got to know the safe routes to run and where it's safe to stop and move shipments. So we've got different marine grid sectors we talk over. Various ports, so you can stop in Cairo, Tel Aviv Market. And then we've got random encounter tables. So as you're travelling around port and coastline, you might be encountering coast guards, customs ships, harbour police, pirates, freelancers. At the high sea, you've got freelancers and pirates are more likely. Corporates, refugees, corporate installations, the security services, supply vessels, etc. And then it details all these out, and there's randomness between them. So you can see what status they might be toward you, whether they're hostile or more willing to bargain. Go through all of those. We've got an aquatic nomad, the tale of Captain Garret. So telling the story of one. Big problems, big wins, disaster. So through his life, showing you what an aquatic nomad's life is like. I think I've skipped past something. Nope. Role, genetic mutation. So we've got a squark. Aquatic creature, genetically engineered. Getting your ship. The quick start method, captain's method, the members method. We've got some test sailing ships here, so different aquatic vessels you might encounter. I need extras my ship have. We've got Mutronics. So different mutations, you know, remote predatory models, nautical elimination units, patrol shoals, different defences they've come up with but biologically created. Got various weapons which are used at sea, so assault rifles, advanced targeting harpoons. We've got details of the aquatic nomad themselves, you know, their career package and their new skills. Sample nomad aquatic packs. So Babylon Bay, the Northern Lights, just different groups of nomads you might encounter. And we've got a set of rules, you know, modified rules for Cyberpunk to help you. So ways you can use to create characters, whether you're going to make the campaign level stronger or weaker. How to handle cyberpsychosis, playing the game, so special abilities, how to deal with exceptional roles, combat procedures, quickie net running. Just various ideas to get your game going quicker than the rulebook says. Armour, weapons and damage. We've got the letters pages, Logging Out, which is a note from the editor, the Uplink section, so you can say what you thought of it, which is very similar to Interface magazine had as well, and the subscriptions. Now, from online, it said that this was the third and final issue out of a planned 5, although the subscriptions here does offer you the chance to get 4, 5 and 6. So I think there probably was supposed to be 6 issues, or maybe keep it running as long as they could, but it only made it as far as this 3rd issue. We can see the details of what was in the first couple of issues, though. So the first one was on London, the club scene, corpse zones, the garden, who do you know, narcotize, life in the corpse, Program 101, Euro fashion, combat soccer, Borged Up, Interpol, and freelancers. The second issue dealt with new tech, Amsterdam, the damn club scene, electro offender, Ballistix, freelance, private detectives, Ballistix again, executive townships, test drive alternatives, and a Borged Up feature about cyberware. So they covered mainly a different area of Europe. So this one was mainly London, that was Amsterdam. This one's creating a nomad island and detailing that. A very interesting idea to flesh out Europe. The material in it's really quite interesting, even if I'm not quite sure how well it fits in to Cyberpunk, but if you were making it part of your campaign, this would be absolutely great. It's a lovely magazine. As I said, I've only got 1 issue, although I think you can probably find the other 2 online. But I'm really glad I bought it back in the day. Now, this is the last physical Cyberpunk zine I've got, so it's essentially the end of this little mini-series I've been keeping going where I've worked my way through Interface. But I think what I'm going to do in the future is collect up my old editions of magazines which came out in the 90s, and I'll keep going through those. But anyway, I've whittled on for long enough as usual, so thank you very, very much for watching. But as always, most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.